I definitely made some really great relationships. I think lifelong friends. Hygiene school is a whole different animal. So just to go through that together, I felt like no one really understood what I was going through except for my fellow classmates. I was like, you guys know exactly how I feel.
That's kind of something that I want to go back and teach for, is to have those moments with other people, because they keep happening for me. So hopefully I can make it happen for someone else too.
So for me, as much as it hurt my heart and, my confidence, I loved having all of those clinics. It was like actually working a job, except you're taking, 4 hours to scale a patient.
Get ready for your unofficial dental hygiene podcast. These are the tales of two hygienists, one East Coast RDH and one West Coast hygienist. Listen as they tackle the profession of dental hygiene with humor and enthusiasm. Now, please join Michelle Strange and Andrew Johnston as they tell you a tale of two hygienists.
Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of A Tale of Two Hygienists, episode number 282. My name is Andrew.
Woo! And this is Michelle. Thank you for joining us. Man, I can't believe how much we've grown. I love it. And if you're new to the podcast, don't forget to hit subscribe and share and all that jazz. And if you are a longtime listener and you love it, we would love a review as well. Don't forget to do that.
So this week, everyone, this is your student roundtable. Again, if you've been a longtime listener, please share this with the maybe hygiene students that you know in your area, or maybe the new grads. This one was a really, really fun one. We had lots of different people on. Claire, who we love, who's been on before with student RDH, and she's just incredibly smart. We've also, I think the cool thing about this particular episode that hopefully you guys will enjoy, that these were referrals, I guess we call them.
Referred students. Yeah. Recommendations.
Referred students from some of our favorite faculty.
Yeah. So everyone was definitely an amazing student in their class. So I really appreciate the suggestions and everybody coming on and sharing their experience. And I know sometimes a podcast can be intimidating, but I'm really glad everybody took the time to share their experiences with us.
Well, it was a lot of fun. We really enjoyed it. We know that you guys will too. Sit back, relax, and enjoy this student roundtable.
Sweet.
Hey, everyone. Before we get into the roundtable, I need to give a quick plug for Q Optics. I cannot believe it has been more than a year since Chicago Midwinter of 2020. I remember clearly the day at the conference when we stopped by the Q Optics booth to get measured for loops. And beyond the high quality of their products, I was impressed by their professionalism. If you are a student listening to this podcast or a faculty member looking to help out your students, reach out to our friends over at Q Optics and get them into your program. You have heard on our show many times, we fully support using loops during clinical care and highly recommend investing in a light as well. You'll be happy with that choice. To find out more and see what else they have in store, check out qoptics.com. That's q-optics.com. And now, back to the show.
Well, welcome to this really fun and special student-focused roundtable where we are going to highlight some amazing new graduates, are now just about colleagues. I mean, close to being our colleagues, just like 1 second away from being our colleagues here in the dental hygiene profession. I'm really excited. Of course, I have Andrew as my co-host, but welcome. Hi.
Hi.
And we're kind of a tri-host because we have the amazing, the one and only, the most perfect human on the earth, Claire Jeong. Welcome.
Yay. Oh, thank you. You are so nice. It's just awesome to have you. And thanks for having me again.
Yes,
Absolutely.
You're always welcome. You're just our favorite human. Before we jump to the interview and this chat with our wonderful students, well, I can't even call y'all students anymore. Our wonderful graduates into the RDH profession. Claire, you have a new podcast that is out. So we want to know everything about it.
Oh, thank you. It's called RDHBites. Why bites? Well, it's a little bite of information, first of all. Just like student RDH, we want content that is useful for you, but in a short format so you can absorb everything. So we released it a few weeks ago, and the first one was with my sister, Dr. Jeong. we recorded on teeth grinding. So we really dive into the content, such as what is teeth grinding, and she talks about like in the Latin words, it means this, so definition, and then get into, okay, if you're students, what are the things that you have to know, like muscles of mastication, for example, for the board examination. But other than that, like clinically, okay, what are you likely to see? What can you advise the patients to do? And then where does this mouth guard come in? And my sister was telling me why they're big, they're thick, because I always complain, like, why does a mouth guard have to be so thick and uncomfortable? And she's like, well, you can make it thinner, but you're not really preventing the muscles from like stopping to completely work. When they're so thick, that actually makes it uncomfortable, so you can't even grind anymore. So I finally got that. So it is like that every single week. We release something. We're going to have amazing Michelle tomorrow as well. Really welcoming anybody to come on, really wanting to talk about what you have to know for the board examination to be successful at school, and also trying to tie it back into clinical. So that's my style. We dive right into the content, and then being able just to share a little bit of brain bites. So to our students with wake up memory techniques as well. So go find it. It's called RDHBites.
That's awesome. We're so excited to have another podcaster out there putting out awesome content. So
but you guys are really the OG, like the originals. Seriously. What, 5 years ago or even longer?
We're on
than
our
that?
6th year. We're on our 6th year.
Your anniversary. Okay.
Can't believe it.
Nobody did that back then. Only those two were doing it. And
there were some sprinklings of sporadic ones out there, but yeah, we were the consistent ones, and we're only as good as we are because of the guests that we've brought on. Really,
100%.
Yeah. And actually, everyone who made a recommendation for a student to come on today's roundtable has been on our podcast. So I totally believed in their recommendations. We have Claire on because Claire's the queen of like student RDH and educating students. And so we thought you would be perfect fit for this. So I would love for each one of you to introduce yourself. I'm going to start with Alyssa. And I went to hygiene school with an Alyssa who spelled it just like that. So my brain is going to have a meltdown. So welcome to the podcast. Tell us a little bit about yourself and where you graduated from.
Okay, so I'm Alyssa Todora. I'm from California, and I am graduating from University of the Pacific, Arthur A. Dugoni School of Dentistry.
Awesome. And congratulations. Then I have Bonny.
I'm Bonny Harris, and I am a mom of 2. I'm 39, so I went back to school when I was 35. I graduated from Dixie State University in St. George, Utah, and I'm just waiting on my license. Everything's been sent in, so I'm planning on starting work June 1st.
Fingers crossed. Keyla, welcome.
Hi, I'm Keyla Lee. I attended Fortis College in Landover, Maryland. I graduated a few weeks ago, and I myself am also just waiting on my license as well.
Congratulations.
Awesome. Yes. And Katie.
Hi, I'm Katie Sinclair. I graduated from Eastern Washington University in Spokane. I'm from Tri-Cities, Washington. Yes.
Yeah, buddy.
I know you're from Yakima. Yeah. I listened to a couple of the podcasts.
Yay.
Anyway, I am still waiting on my license as well. I graduated this month, but I have a job lined up, so I'll just be assisting until my license comes in. So yeah.
Oh, that's exactly what I did. Yes. Well, congratulations to you all. What?
Do you all have jobs lined up right now? Look at all you saying yes.
Everybody's a yes. Look at that.
Do you guys know? I don't know. This is, I think, unique. I think to maybe this time in our hopefully closer post-pandemic life. If you ask the same group 5 years ago, they'd be like, well, I might have a few leads. Can I ask, how did each of you get your introduction to the job that you're going to be going to? Alyssa, go ahead and start.
I started off with assisting with the office that I'm going to be going to, and I was in school at the time, so it kind of like one thing led into another. The doctor was like, when are you graduating? I'd love to have you on our team type of thing. So that's kind of where mine came from.
Are they short
Katie,
hygienists right now?
Oh.
There's one hygienist at the office right now, but she'd love to have 2 again. So that's where we're coming from.
Nice. Okay. Yeah. Katie?
My situation is kind of weird. It's the first office that I interviewed at, but my uncle paraglides with a doctor who is going to start working at this office 1 day a week. And so they sent him a text and he forwarded my resume to the owner, and I interviewed, and because they have someone out on medical leave, so they needed someone ASAP. So, and I loved it. So it was just quick.
Wow.
Nice.
Yeah.
How did you guys get yours?
So I actually have a few jobs lined up, and I have a few offices that are contacting me. But I decided that I wanted to do temping. So I got started with Team Placement, which is a temping agency.
We know them.
And I was excited to start with them. And then I have another office, a perio office. She wants me to work for her part-time in Silver Spring, Maryland. So I'm kind of just like teetering between those two. So unfortunately, a lot of offices are wanting me to start with them, but I personally just want to do the temping.
Bonnie?
So I am actually going to be working for an oral and maxillofacial surgeon, which was kind of weird. So yeah, so I worked for him before I went back to school full time. And so I will be doing hygiene. His wife's a dentist. So I'll be doing hygiene on like a day a week. And then I'll be doing his local, and I'll do some laser treatments for aphthous ulcers and cold sores. And it's kind of exciting, actually. Like, we don't really know what it's going to look like, but it was just an offer that I'm like, I can't refuse it. So we'll see how it goes. I'll keep you posted.
That's going to be really exciting. And
Yes.
I heard, I mean, those surgeons are, their time is like, so they love when hygienists just do the injection and they come in and like, it's all set to go. I had a friend like that.
I did that.
Who was a surgeon. Yeah. And it's like, we
I'm
love
excited.
hygienists for that.
Yeah. That was my first job, was perio, and I did hygiene 2 days a week, and then I did surgical assisting 3 days a week, and I would anesthetize all of the surgical patients. They literally just walked in. But if you haven't already thought about maybe doing like implant maintenance, you should follow Siobhan Healy and Melissa Obraka and the Dental Implants Uncovered Facebook group, because they're all about just specifically helping maintain these medical devices and jawbones that we kind of just flippantly be like, oh, just clean it with whatever you want.
Yeah, no, I'm excited. Thank you. I will.
So I'm curious, like, what made you guys, and I don't mean to say this as like you just chose whatever came your way. I'm sure you were probably thinking hard about it, but did you think like, yes, oral surgery, yes, temping, I want to do peds, I want to do restorative, or are you just kind of like, give me what I can now and I'll just feel it out and move on if I don't like it?
I wanted to do temping. When they came to our school and kind of started speaking with us and explaining to us the process, it sounded like a really smooth and just kind of easy transition, especially with the company Team Placement. They just seem super friendly and easygoing. And for me personally, I wanted to be able to experience different offices. I wanted to see what I liked. I wanted to like kind of be able to travel around the DMV area. So that's why I was stuck on temping, because I just felt like staying somewhere stagnant, I don't know if I would like it. And I didn't want to just kind of stick with one thing. I wanted to get more experience and more opportunities with the temping.
That's smart.
Wow. Hey,
Bonnie?
back in the days when I started, sorry, I just hopped on my friend's. She started to work before I did, and she's like, they're looking. So I'm like, I took the first, like, okay.
Give me whatever I can take right now. I got bills to pay.
I think that like that was kind of part of it for me too. And I think that if I didn't have such a great office where like I worked at this place for 6 years before as an assistant. And so it's like going home for me, but I love that, Keyla, like I love that you're temping. I think that's such a smart idea. I think that going back in like my mid 30s, which is the new 20, like
For sure.
for me, I'm like, how many more wrist movements do I have? You know what I mean? Like how much more,
My joints. Yeah.
how much more ergonomic strain can I take? But I think it's so smart to try out new places, to see what you like and to figure out, try out kind of what different offices do. I grew up in Virginia and we were pretty poor. I had a lot of brothers and sisters. For me, coming out of high school, being a dental assistant, I didn't know as a mom, would I have another chance for a degree? And I knew dental and I knew that I could make a living and support my kids if anything ever happened to my husband, who's a firefighter, and it was kind of the next right step for me. It kind of flowed. And even though nothing in 2020 flowed, my job offer did. And I kind of, jumped on it. I had a lot of questions, but like I said, I'm excited.
That's awesome.
I kind of did jump at the first thing that came my way, which at first I was like, oh God, what did I just do? I didn't think about this long enough, whatever. Because I had thought about temping like Keyla because I didn't know what I want. I'm like, I've been in school since I was 6 and now I have to work. And so I don't really know like what I want or where I want to be, all that. But I do want to work at the schools now that I'm graduated. So that was kind of a big thing for me. And they have pre-clinic on Fridays in the fall. And the office that I'm joining they're closed on Fridays. And I was like, well, hopefully they'll have a position for me at the school in the pre-clinic so I can do that because I want to get into education. So this is kind of like, it seemed like the perfect transition to just go straight from graduating back into it. So, because it's fresh, I know all of the policies and procedures at the school. So hopefully that works out. That was kind of my reasoning for sticking around here and taking the position, other than the fact that it's a great office too. But awesome.
Are you planning on doing any restorative?
The office that I'm joining doesn't have their hygienists do restorative. It's just one doctor. But I enjoy it, so I would eventually. And if I'm working at the school, I can stay fresh too, which is awesome.
Mm-hmm. You guys on the West Coast have this advantage of when you graduate.
I know it.
I forget that it's still a little bit
that's not normal.
Unique.
Yeah.
I kind of have a similar situation to Katie. I jumped right on the first offer I got. Like then again, I assisted there for a few months, a year almost. It's kind of going back home, similar to what Bonnie said, like go back to my roots. I'm comfortable there. I'm only 21 years old, so I have a lot of time ahead of me if I wanted to change areas. And my doctor is on my side with that, on board with me. Obviously, she'd love me to stay, but she's willing to help me grow and learn what I want to do in my life. So I'm very thankful for that.
Well, you're very impressive just to even have jobs.
Yeah. I mean, and you're so right. What Andrew said earlier, like 5 years ago, maybe a few offers, like you were really looking for it. Even in 2008, after the recession, those were tough times. So I was hoping to do something along the lines of like the highs and the lows, the roses and the thorns of dental hygiene school. And I don't know if it's possible, but if so, the thorn is not COVID. Because I know that I feel like that's the obvious. Like that was just the horrible part of 2020 in hygiene school. And we can circle back to the fact that Andrew has also just taken another exam on a mannequin.
Oh, so dumb. That was the worst.
So, we can talk about that later, but I would love to know just specifically about hygiene school. It could even just be the friends that you've made, or it could be like your program, the fact you can do restorative, whatever it is, not to put like roses in your head, but highs and lows, if anybody wants to start. Keyla?
I'll start. I don't know. Should I do highs or lows first?
Do the lows. I like a good low.
Yeah. The lows for me, honestly, I'm really hard on myself. I'm like my biggest critic. I get in my head a lot. I know when I'm wrong. I know when I make a mistake. So I think the hardest part was you kind of always were criticized in dental hygiene school. It kind of felt like everything you did was wrong. Kind of felt like no matter how hard you tried, how much you scaled, it was like, nope, there's still calculus, or you didn't do this right, or your positioning is not right. So that was really hard for me and challenging, just because I am already beating myself up. Like I already know. And then it's like, oh, so that was challenging for me, definitely. Of course, studying the tests, the exams, finding patients in the middle of a pandemic, there's so much. But on to the highs. Definitely the friends that I made. I definitely made some really great relationships. I think lifelong friends. Hygiene school is a whole different animal. So just to go through that together, I felt like no one really understood what I was going through except for my fellow classmates. Like I was like, you guys know exactly how I feel. So we definitely created bonds. And also I feel like hygiene school kind of just overall made me a more well-rounded like individual and woman. And it just made me feel more empowered and stronger. Like now that I'm graduated, I kind of just feel super empowered. Like I went through hygiene school, like I did this, and not to mention I did it through a pandemic. It just overall, I just feel so much more confident and just like proud of myself in general for completing it.
Can I say you all are super achievers here, right? If Michelle and Andrew invited you here on the podcast, you are like hard on yourself, right? Whether it's patience or examination. Yeah.
Super achievers for sure.
I mean, I feel like you would be like that too, Michelle. Were you?
Oh my God.
Bajillion%.
Oh yeah. If I got a 98%, I was like in tears. Like, what happened? What?
Yeah. And what about you, Andrew? Were you were you a little chill?
Nope. C's get degrees. No, I'm just kidding. No, I was that person who, I mean, I did try and bring a little bit of levity to like the class because it was so serious, but I had no dental background. So that first year was really brutal. And then the second year, when things started coming together, like I was a much better achiever. But if you asked any of my instructors, they'd be like that guy's not going to make it through the second year. But then look at me now.
I know.
Director of hygiene. Oh, Lord.
Yeah, I'm also super hard on myself. And some of the lows, I think, during my time in hygiene school is I would have great grades and great days in clinic and then come home to do some lecture work and have an exam or two. I get my grade back. And if it wasn't, like you said, 98 or above or whatever my percentage was for that exam, I'd be like, oh my gosh, am I even smart enough to be in clinic? I know I can do my clinic work, but am I good enough to do it because I can't get the book down? That type of thing I was really hard on myself on. Also, like Keyla said, I would scale my life away, scale. And then my faculty would come and they'd be like, nope, you got to go back. And I'm like, what am I doing? Do I not know how to scale right? Am I practicing wrong? Am I not practicing enough? Those types of things. So I definitely got on my case regarding those things. But some of the highs for our program is the faculty that we're able to cooperate with and soon to be colleagues, I'm excited to say. They are always there for you and help you with whatever you need. If it's life advice, your textbook, your type it on, unfortunately now, your patient care, everything, they're there for you. And I think they are what got me through hygiene school. I mean, obviously my friends that I made through there are definitely a part of it. But if I didn't have the faculty that I did have and was able to collaborate with, I feel like things would have gone much differently in the times that we're in with the pandemic. So I'm super grateful for the faculty that I was able to run into, not to mention the friends that I was able to create there. So
awesome.
I would say lows, it's hard to exclude the pandemic, but because I want to say that the pandemic kind of stunted some of the relationships that it takes me a long time to make friends, I feel like, or think that someone's my friend. I just like assume that nobody likes me, or I don't know, they wouldn't want to be close or whatever when that is not true most of the time. So like having to go home in the middle of the semester last spring, I feel like stunted some of my friendships. Thankfully, since we were able to go back for fall and spring, I picked up on friendships and got close with people, and I have lifelong friends now. And also we've just been through so much together that it's hard. You could never not be friends with those people. You're forever bonded. So that is a low, kind of, because I feel like I could have had more time with those people if not for the pandemic. But I mean, I still ended up with some great friends, which is amazing, and people that I can always turn to when I need help, or like we still have our group chat and we're chatting away about getting our license and like helping each other through that. So that has just been amazing, as the support of my classmates. We did have one boy, so I feel like he kind of balanced it a little bit, which was nice. Shout out to Kevin. But we just had an awesome class. It was very we just meshed well together. There was no drama. I know that's been a thing in the past, drama between classmates, but I feel really lucky to graduate with the people that I did. So that's definitely a high. I'm having a hard time thinking of lows, which I know is crazy because I think I just try and black them out. Just never want to think about it again. But I would say some other highs were my light bulb moments. There's specific things that stick out in my brain of learning experiences that I had in pre-clinic, in restorative. Composite was the worst thing for me at first. It was so hard. I was breaking cusps off of teeth with my high speed, and I could not get it down. I didn't know how I was ever going to do it on person. And I had this like one-on-one moment with a professor, and she watched me polish my composite, and she's like, okay, you need to take some teeth and practice. And if you have to ruin those, take those ones, ruin them. And she kind of taught me some tricks, and it was this crazy 360 or 180 moment that helped me a lot. And other moments in clinic, like scaling the lingual of mandibular anteriors, I was not getting it. I was missing the line angles every single time. And then all of a sudden she's like, if you're moving yourself, are you also moving your mirror to see? And I was like, what? Another light bulb moment. So things like that just stick out in my brain of learning. And that's kind of something that I want to go back and teach for, is have those moments with other people, because they keep happening for me. So hopefully I can make it happen for someone else too.
So lows for me, can we talk about dental hygiene being like one of the only programs where you find your own patients?
Yeah.
Like we had nursing students, there's PA students, and people just get injured, or sick. And for us, we're like, when's the last time you've had a teeth cleaning? And then try and do that. Sorry, but with masks on, you can't just like assume about people's calculus. But I think that was daunting at first, but I would rather go on the street corner or the subway and find people than work on a Typodont, because it was not equivalent, even nearly equivalent to me for clinic. One of my positives was COVID. Can that be a positive? We doubled up our clinics, and we had night clinics, and I had access to these people that would not have been able to come in during the day. There were patients that had to work or that didn't have transportation except for to come in on Monday nights. And these were patients that were my mock boards or my boards, patient before it turned to Typodont for me. So for me, like, as much as it hurt my heart and, my confidence, I loved having all of those clinics. It was like actually working a job, except you're taking, 4 hours to scale a patient. And then just, waiting to have everything done twice and feeling confident. I think by the time I got to clinic 4, I was feeling pretty good about, getting my calculus. I knew if I had a deposit left over, and sometimes I just would get tired. Like, I'll just take the hit on this one. I'll take like the point deduction. Can you just check it for me? But feeling like I knew what was going on, and then kind of having to, have an instructor come over, and they didn't want to tell you, they didn't want to tell you if you did a bad job. And sometimes you didn't do a great one, but I think it's such a cool community. And I think that like the ADHA, and for us, it's the Utah Dental Hygienists Association. Like, there are names of people that I know from my instructors that I feel like I could email or reach out to for support or for ideas. And so I think, that's pretty cool.
So I would like to know, is there anything that you guys are nervous about going into the profession? Is there anything you're like, look, this is one thing maybe school didn't prepare me for in the way that I wish I would have been prepared for? Or do you feel all good? Because that's also an acceptable answer. Like, if you feel like school really prepared you for life, then I would love to hear that too, because that's great.
I'm coming from University of the Pacific, like I said at the beginning, and I feel pretty confident going into the job that I have lined up. I feel like we got a well-rounded experience in our clinics. So they tried their best to make it as if it was a private office or even a public office, to like as if our faculty was the doctor. You need to explain yourself to me. You need to explain your patient as if it was the doctor coming in. Towards our second semester of senior year, you were kind of on your own. They limited the checks that you needed so that you're more on your own, go at a faster pace. Don't stop every 5 seconds to get your patient checked or get a signature or a swipe. Like, don't stop, keep going, test yourself on that type of thing. So I do feel really prepared for going out in the real world.
That's awesome.
Wow. Well, because when I graduated, I was not prepared for the real world. I mean, my first day on the job, I died already inside, like past 3 hours in the morning.
Same.
But you just have to keep going until the end of the day. So it's great that you all have this confidence, because honestly,
did y'all have rotations though? Like, I know COVID with y'all here, but like even Andrew and Claire, did y'all have rotations?
I did.
Community.
Yeah, in the community. No?
Yeah, I had rotations. It took a little while in the fall because we started clinic back in the fall, or in August, when we went back. But it took a little while to get approval to go on our rotations. But we had 3 places we went, 2 community clinics, and we were the first class to do a pediatric rotation, which was so fun. And I feel like those rotations prepared me the most. Well, not the most, but it gave me a really good idea of what work was going to feel like, because even if you double book, which I never did, I was too scared, double book at school, you're still getting like checked way more, and you don't have like all of your equipment in one space. Like, you got to go to the x-ray rooms, take x-rays. So it felt, this one specific rotation kind of towards the end of the semester for me, I saw 4 patients I can't remember, I think it was like an afternoon, and I had very little checks. She's like, you're almost done, just go. And it gave me a really good feel for what work is going to be like. I mean, we'll still have to go seeing like 8 patients a day, but we'll see. So I loved my rotations, and it made me want to go to a community clinic. I really enjoyed working at those. My job that I'm starting isn't a community clinic, but I would like to go back to that potentially one day. And also, back to your question, what we're nervous about, I'm nervous about everything, because I don't know what I should be nervous about, or what I don't know. That's what always makes me nervous. Like, what do I not know? Because I learned a lot, but there's always more, and I don't know what it is. So I can't find out until I run into it and I don't know it, and then I have to learn it. So, which is healthy. But yeah, I think that's my biggest thing, is not knowing what I don't know that I don't know.
Well said.
Yes, thank you.
When you say rotations, you're going out into offices, and are you taking an instructor with you?
We had a preceptor. So each clinic had a preceptor that works with the school. 1 or 2 of them were instructors in clinic part-time. And then another was a doctor that works closely with our school and trained us in pediatrics. And then we had another preceptor who was an Eastern grad. And so they just have an agreement with the school that they'll have students once a week or something and doing their treatment for them, and you're working under their license. It's pretty awesome.
The rotation I experienced, I went to school in San Francisco, so it was a little bit outside of its city. But the doctors that were at that office were actually residents that graduated from UOP. So we all had like the same ethics type of thing and process in the day. And then we actually did have a dental hygiene faculty there. So we worked with the doctors, but she was there just in case we needed anything. But it was working with the residents, basically.
That's nice, because you all know, I mean, you don't know each other, but it's kind of a community already.
Right.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
In my school that I was teaching at, and as a student, we rotated through, because we have the Air Force here. So we would go see Air Force people. And then everybody who we contract with on rotation, the students aren't getting like the same kind of grade. Like, they're not getting calculus detection and points taken off and that kind of stuff. Like, you're getting an experience. So was this a class 3? Was this a class 4? Did you complete a quad? Did you complete polishing? Did you complete a full series of x-rays? Like, you're getting points for that. So the grading is slightly different. And obviously you don't get to do that until like a little bit later on in the school year, almost when you're about to graduate. So you do get those real life things. But we have probably like 4 or 5 different rotations out of the clinic, so that you do get that like real life experience with a dentist checking you, x-rays in the room, you got to go out to the waiting area to get your patient, bring them back and do all of that stuff. So it was quite nice, I think.
I had one of my worst experience in my rotation. I think we did 3 in total, 1 pediatric, 1 community center, and 1 at another university hospital. But it was just like ultrasonicking. And at that point, I honestly did not know what a temporary looked like. Because, in hygiene school, we're not trained on restorations, especially not on the West Coast, from the East Coast. You don't know what a temp looks like.
Yeah,
so, water was coming out and that is washing away.
Oh, that's cement?
Yeah. And I'm like, this is calculus. This is weird. So I had to call the dentist saying, there's something here, because it looked like calculus to me. It's a community health center and people come with very heavy calculus, teeth barely hanging on. So I'm glad it was not school, because I didn't really get points deducted, because in a community, when you're on rotation, just like you said, Michelle, you don't really get graded on the little details. It's like good experience. Oh my God, I was sweating so much that day. It was like, waiting for the doctor to be done. And then the doctor had to call the previous dentist, and the patient never went back. It's been like a year or 2, never went back to actually get the restoration done. So,
oh no.
Wow.
That was tough.
That is tough. Bonnie?
We had that actually. We didn't go to offices, but we would go out with a preceptor, if that means what I think it means, like an instructor that was like in charge of our clinic. And we would go out on a mobile clinic. So it's like this bus and it had chairs in it. And we would go to like workforce services, so unemployment agencies, and then more underserved communities. But it sounds like about the same thing. Like we had a limited amount of time. You kind of just went through it and she's there to help you with questions and that kind of thing. But yeah, that was really helpful. And it was really fun when I, senior year, when I knew what I was doing a little bit more.
And I'm jealous of you all. That sounds awesome.
Yeah, that's great.
It's like we were in our office and we didn't ever, Michelle, I told this story, I think, before on the podcast, but our senior year, we actually they're remodeling our clinic. So we had to go across the street into what used to be the tavern, and it was like retrofitted. So we had 1 sink for the whole entire clinic. And like the chairs were like toe to toe to toe. It was, Michelle, if you would have saw that now, you would have just like,
control. You
would have flipped. You would have flipped. But it was like, there were 16 of us jammed in this one little tiny X tavern. It was a fun experience. I love that experience. It sucked, but like I still love it so much.
The suffering. You love the suffering.
That's how you learn. It's how you grow.
So, Keyla, what are you possibly nervous about? What are you thinking about?
I think mentally, I feel very confident, right? Like I feel like I know what I'm doing. This is what I went to school for. I just feel really good about it. I'm really excited to start. This is what I want to do, right? This is my career, my future. However, like Katie said, I have no idea really. Like you think one thing, and I might get in there, and I'm like, whoa, like like. Some offices, I don't know, you see how many patients a day, like 8 patients a day, maybe more, maybe less. And I just think the first maybe couple weeks, I'm going to be exhausted. Like, oh my gosh, patients every day, all day. So really I don't really know what to expect, but I am excited and I have a very positive mindset about it. And I'm just ready to take whatever comes at me and I'm just going to have to roll with it.
That's awesome.
For sure. All of you here has the right attitude anyway, so all good things gonna happen. I'm so impressed by all like confident and mature you all are. When I graduated, and I was an older one in my class, like I was old, a little bit like Bonnie. Yeah.
Old? Did you just call me old, Claire? That's okay. You are my hero.
For hygiene schools, because majority of students
are what, 20, 21.
There were some students I couldn't say, let's go have a beer, like
Is anybody else like nervous about like all the light deposits we might see on recalls? Like I've been hauling butt to get class 3s and 4s, and like if it's a recare and it's maybe 1 or 2, I'm like, I need that clink of the calculus. It's going to be weird, right? It's so different than clinic and trying to find all the hard ones that make you sweat and cry at the same time.
You're gonna feel a little bit less accomplished. I feel like when you have like you're working so hard and all of a sudden it's like, oh, this is an easy one. Well, I'm done in 20 minutes. Like this is, but there's plenty of time. I think Michelle would agree with this. There's plenty of things you can still do in that time.
I'm gonna try to not to lose my mind on why.
I mean, for the clinical part of it, like the hands-on clinical portion of it is easy, but there's still plenty of things you can do with those appointments. And that's, I think, where that continuing education is so important, that you use that time wisely, because what will end up happening is if you focus only on calculus or light deposits for this, 50 or 60 minute appointment, then what's going to happen with the whole profession is they're going to start only giving you 20 or 30 minutes. And then the education component goes away. And then all of the basic of what we're supposed to be doing, we're not able to do that any longer because it's just this mechanical removal of crap on people's teeth. And that reduces us down as a profession. Anyway, sorry not to go on the whole little.
No, but that's true. It's true. And as much as I am a calculus addict, like I want to pop it off. I want to see that black piece of calculus come up from the tissue, and I want to feel like a champion. I am trying. I've gone full on into guided biofilm therapy, and my goal is to never put a scalar to a tooth again. It's not going to happen anytime soon because of, society, but like that's my new theory and philosophy that I want to practice by. And so when I see patients with little calculus and I disclose them, and this, I literally saw this, my third patient today, they had very little calculus. Upon looking at them, looked golden, disclosed them with triplaque gel. And I was like, oh my Jesus. Oh my God, I'm going to be here a minute. But I use airflow, and so it was a lot. But even using airflow on some of this like plaque that was layered, like I was literally taking it off, and I was getting like the pink off, and then the deep blue off, and then the light blue off. And I was like, oh my God, I've been on this tooth for like a minute and a half with this. So even on those days where I'm not like deep scaling, I'm working my butt off and talking about sleep, and I'm talking about my functional therapy and education. There's so much to it. And you being in an oral maxillofacial surgery, like the opportunity for all the things you can do, that's going to be exciting.
I want to keep in touch with you guys because I want this to be a thing, because I feel like I'm having to justify it sometimes just to certain classmates or even some instructors that have ideas. Well, you're going to lose your skills kind of thing. And I'm like, I'm still going to be scaling. There's more to it. And so I'm trying to be creative, and I have like my list, and we have a Google Doc, me and this surgeon, of things that I can do so that he has time to, do Lefort ones or whatever he needs to do. And I'm just excited.
That's fun.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's the thing about dental hygiene is like hand scaling is one part, right? I mean, Keyla, you went to Fortis, is that with Dr. Joy?
Yeah.
Dr. Joy instrumentation,
Yeah, she's the guru.
Queen.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, but but everybody, I think, now understand a bit more. There's so much more to it, and we cannot limit dental hygiene to scaling or polishing. A lot of people think we polish. All of those opportunities, I think, are dental hygiene as well.
You are more than a scalar. You are more than a scalar in your hand. Yes.
Claire, I have a question for you, because we've noticed, and sorry, I'm not talking to the rest of you, but just for a minute, Claire. So here's the thing: we've done this right there. We've seen the confidence level. We've seen the enthusiasm. Now, from your perspective, do you think that we've seen in the last 5 or so years a huge upgrade in the curriculum that's being offered? Is it the leveling up of the educators? This is kind of more kind of like where you live. What have you noticed? Why are these people like the way they are?
You know what? I mean, Michelle's been teaching too, but I think the textbook are changing though. They never used to have, for example, HPV related to oral cancer, things like that. Now in textbooks, it takes years. I mean, it just got in, We still have in the textbook probing with plastic, for implants. I know some people are going to scream, so the leveling up happens very slowly. Because if you think about a curriculum, a textbook development, it takes right now they're working on the new Wilkins edition for 3 years down the road. But, it takes just a long time to produce those. So by the time it's out, information is like behind 3 to 5 years. So, things have evolved a lot already. So I see students now coming out with the knowledge of things that used to be a little bit outside of dental hygiene. That's a little bit more systemic health, overall health, which I love really seeing. And, in terms of educators too, but, the changes slow. If you tell me about the NBDHA or the national boards, I'm like, oh, we're too slow right now,
Really slow.
Yeah, unfortunately. I mean, they use, they have to use their resources carefully. And I know, updating it every single day is just not an option. But, one thing I realize, and I think it's for all students and all of us is, so my sister is a dentist, and we chat a lot all the time. And, having friends in, you all have a lot of friends in dentistry, but they are not updated about it, or the dentists who don't know what we actually learn and do.
Mm-hmm.
So they don't know we can do a lot more than just pick up that dull instrument, like the airflow Michelle is doing, things like that. Alyssa, you have something to say.
Yeah, our school on Fridays, we would be in what we call integrated clinic, and we work alongside the dental students, almost kind of like a private office experience.
Love
where
it.
the doctor starts with the patient and then you come in and finish the treatment. And when we first started integrated clinic, the third year dental students that I was working with still were not sure of what the hygiene students can do, which was kind of sad for me because they're graduating when I'm graduating. So we're all going to become colleagues and they don't even know what I'm capable of. And so when I would explain everything prior to the patient coming so that things wouldn't get out of hand when everybody was there. So explaining everything, they're like, oh, wow, you can give local anesthesia for me without a faculty watching. You can do this, you can do that. So it's kind of like, how do you not know? But also, why do you not know? Type of
Why?
thing.
Yeah. The gap is big, and I don't want to blame anybody. I mean, they're busy in the dental curriculum. They're busy graduating. They have exams, insane things going on in their lives, and we do as well. And there's even that dentist versus hygienist, a lot of lack of communication. Hygienist versus specialist, the gap is even bigger. Periodontists don't know what we do. But how do we overcome that, especially as a new grad? And you all have opportunities that is wonderful. And if I had to say something, looking at my previous experiences, like never feel like you have you are the little person. But come with solid, like, here's the article that says I'm allowed to do this, like, injection, for example, because they will not trust you or us, without really, just an argument is not going to work. So those are kind of the things that I learned. But thanks, Alyssa. And Bonnie.
I was just going to say, like Alyssa was saying, we got to work with some dental students too. And I remember like first day of junior year, and they're like, the dental hygienist is an advocate and an educator. And in my mind, that's like educating the patient, right? Or like teaching in a hygiene program, but like you're educating the dentist. Like you did that for the dental student. And like me pulling out the Practice Act for my state with my surgeon that I'm working for, like that's educating a surgeon, and it's educating like how the scope of the practice has changed since they graduated or how it will change. And like, the trends that are coming. I hope that one day I can do restorative in Utah. Like that would be amazing. I loved it. That was the dark horse of my education, was like, I hated the lab. And then I got like a real tooth in there and I'm like, heck yeah, like this is what I need to be doing. But like, I think just educating, like this podcast does it, and the biggest thing is like fighting for our rights to party. No, not to party, but like to do our scope of practice.
To do our job and then party.
Exactly.
Oh my God. Yes. You know what? I'm wondering, all of you are about to graduate or graduate and then just waiting for this precious license to come in. I work with students all the time. And my question would be, do you have any tips for the students that are right now in school of do this, please, don't do that, thing like that? Yeah,
I
Keyla.
would say definitely don't procrastinate on anything. And I'm not saying this from experience because I did procrastinate. So I'm saying do as I say, not as I do. Definitely don't procrastinate. It just causes more stress. It causes you to freak out over something that could have just been so simple. And don't try to be perfect, and don't think you're going to just be amazing and know it all. And, you know, you're going to always get 100% of everything. That was my problem for the longest. Like, I would just beat myself up over everything. Like, it's not perfect. It's not perfect. And it never was, and it never was going to be. And it just took me a while to accept that. But yeah, don't try to be perfect. You're learning. You're there to learn. They're there to teach you. You're going to constantly learn. Every day I learned something new. I was constantly making mistakes and learning from those mistakes. So just, you know, don't be so hard on yourself.
That's Brene Brown for me. You know, it's like, don't be perfect. That's life lesson right now. Keyla, just definitely our students, all of us as professionals and family members too. Awesome. Alyssa?
I think one thing that I would specifically point out to not do is don't compare yourself to other students in your cohort, because everybody's at a different level or a different learning pace. So don't compare what you have left in your requirements compared to another student in your cohort that maybe is faster or slower or anything to that level. Something to do is stay on top of everything. Don't get discouraged if maybe you had a bad day in clinic or you didn't get the test grade that you wanted. Always stay on top of everything. Ask questions to your faculty, ask questions to even the students with your cohort. And just stay on top of everything.
Oh, love it. Ask. Simple, but you're scared, right, when you're a student to ask faculties and students because you feel like, oh, I don't have this like together. You know, I'm a loser. You know. Thank you, Alyssa. Wonderful. Katie?
Something that I learned almost too late was once we were fully online last spring, I did not buy a mouse and like a good setup for my computer. And I actually like injured my wrist doing online school. And I like almost had a panic attack because I'm like, this is my livelihood. My hands,
oh my God.
They're everything. And so I would recommend getting something like a mouse and I bought mine on Amazon, to something to elevate your laptop so that it's at eye level. Cause like you think about ergonomics in the clinic, but then you go home and you're like doing your homework like this and it's bad for your body. So that's a big thing that I was literally in like a wrist brace cause I was so scared that I actually hurt myself. So I definitely take care of your body at home too. And another thing is I would say, don't hesitate to help your classmates and work together as much as you can. Like any opportunity you have to teach them something or have them teach you something, break down their unit if they're slow in clinic or, you know, one day or literally anything, because that like makes such a big impression on me. And I try and give that out as much as possible because it always comes back when you dish it out, and you never know what you're going to learn when you engage with someone else. So if you have a spare moment, or even if you don't, take that time to do something with another student and help them. Or if someone offers to help you, let them help you. Like, be nice to yourself. So
wonderful.
Can I say one thing? Actually, two things. The first part is like get it done, you know, like dig in and get your shiz done. But also we, like our class, like no other, has learned that we don't control anything, like almost anything, like maybe ourselves sometimes until emotions come into play. But like you kind of have to go with the flow of what you can do. There were some nights when I should have been on my student RDH account and I should have been studying, and I guess what, like turned on Netflix and fell asleep, or we ordered pizza way too much. My kids did. And sometimes those nights were like the best. I needed a brain break. And so procrastinating, yeah, like I did. I love when Kayla's like, do as I say, not as I do. Cause I'm like, yes, queen, like the advice is here, but you'll know. And maybe that's a benefit of coming back as like an older, like I was more like an older sister to everyone. I didn't have any sort of competition. I didn't feel like I wasn't competition to people. Yeah. And I don't think we had a ton of that. I think sometimes I would catch myself getting frustrated saying, how is X person going to do this? Like I literally went to the grocery store to find patients and she's still going to pass even though, this. And so you kind of can get caught into that, but those weren't the best times. Those aren't the times that I like to think about. I don't feel proud of them. It's just, give yourself a break sometimes and just trust the system. My instructors would be like, trust us. You can do this, And I'm like, you are full of it. Like, I can't do this. Like, I'm going to die right now. But there's so many resources on Instagram, on Facebook, and have fun with it. It doesn't just have to be the 24 in your class. It can be like reaching out. I remember Claire commented something on like that. I commented on her Instagram and I was like, a celebrity. This is amazing. So it's a nice community. I think, go with the flow, trust your peers.
Yeah. You all sound, I had wonderful classmates to this day, BFF, they all had 1 million kids now. I don't, it's like when I look at pictures, I'm like, it's been 10 years. But you all seem like you're very wise anyhow. And the one thing I hear is like, take care of yourself. Either it's like by just asking for help or helping others or just try to be nice to yourself as well. Don't beat yourself up. And yeah, Michelle, anything you want to share? I mean, you are also a faculty member. So do you see your students do or don't do?
I like what Bonnie said, like trust us as the faculty members. Like we really are trying to guide you. Hopefully the good ones are trying to guide you to do the right thing. And my advice would be keep learning. Please keep learning. It's going to combat frustration. It's going to combat like burnout. And what you learn and what you just graduated with is amazing. Like you are a badass just for graduating hygiene school, but it is just the foundation. And it's okay to not be a part of the cookie cutter hygiene community. So what, like you said, Bonnie, like you might lose your skills. Your skills are not your scalar. Your skills are not your scalar. It's outcomes, and outcomes matter. And that might look different for every human, every practice, every community, every demographic. It's going to be different. So just know that you are coming into an amazing profession. I'm very excited to have you guys as colleagues now. Like I have hope for our profession. So thank you so much. Claire, thank you for coming on and being a tri-host with us.
I love all of you here, the original podcasters here, Andrew as well.
OG.
Yeah, the OG, and then all of our students to become, colleagues and friends. I can't wait to meet you all like in person. Yeah. Wouldn't that be nice? Like it's been years. I don't know, when did I see you, Michelle, Andrew, last? It's been 1.5 years, something like that, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe longer. Yeah.
Yeah. But, all of our new grads here, I would love to just continue chatting because what I'm always trying to get is our new grads motivating our students. Like, there's so much I can do. And, they really value actually the new grads' opinion. Because my opinion, is a little older, except for the NBDHE, my other life experience. So, if you have anything to share, anything like that, you guys are wonderful resources too.
Absolutely.
The little ones. Yeah.
Yeah. Any final thoughts from our wonderful graduates, our colleagues?
We all need to follow each other now on Instagram. I'm not kidding.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Definitely do that.
Together when we get together, literally.
Yes, literally. I'd love to clink some wine glasses with all of you. So thank you so much for all of your time tonight. Thank you for sharing your stories with us. Please, anyone who's listening, feel free to reach out to us, follow us on Instagram, all that jazz. Go download Claire's new podcast if you are a student. And we're so excited for you to be a part of our little podcast community, Claire. I know that's been a long time coming, so we're excited for it.
Oh my God, I've been thinking about it for years now.
So long. I love it.
I don't know how to teach this over a podcast. I want to teach so much.
No, you're going to be great. You're going to be great. Well, thank you all so much. And congratulations on becoming hygienists.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you for having us.
Well, another great week, another great episode. We thank you all so much for listening each week. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, whatever podcasting app you're using. Also, just a reminder, our guests are so fantastic that they love when you reach out. They love when you interact with them on social media. And you can interact with us on social media as well at Instagram or Facebook. We're also on LinkedIn. You can find us at A Tale of Two Hygienists. You can also go to our website, ataleoftwohygienists.com. And we would love for you to go there and subscribe for our newsletter. We have lots of stuff on our website. We have a learning center. You can search for any episode. This is an easy place for you to find the links for our CE courses and take the test. There's just so much more there. So head over to ataleoftwohygienists.com. And if you want, you can also send us an email. I'm Michelle at ataleoftwohygienists.com. And then there's Andrew, who is Andrew at ataleoftwohygienists.com. And we just want to say thank you so much. If you love this episode and you're loving the podcast, we would love for you to subscribe and leave us a review. And, 5-star, go ahead and do it. 5-star, just hit that 5-star and then leave us a review. We really appreciate it. We love reading them. It fuels our fire. And we just appreciate you guys so much. I think that's it, Andrew. Anything else?
Nope, that's it. Have a good week, everybody.
Bye, y'all.